Right now this morning, a murder, a broken system, and a daughter's 30-year fight for justice. And right now this morning, ahead of next week's mayoral primary, Council President Chris Calo reveals her plan to bring new revenue to La Crosse.
Plus, colder air well to the north of I-94, but we're not so much in that, but we'll still be cold today. How about some snow? We'll talk about that. Are our returns diminishing? That in just a moment.
This is News 8 Now, this morning.
Good morning, I'm Alexandra Carter.
And I'm Mark Jarrett.
It is Tuesday, February 11th. I hate to hear that our returns are diminishing on this morning, Art.
A little bit, but we still have more rain and snow coming in our forecast over the next couple of days, so we should do all right. Hey, let's get into the look here, as my friend just said. Yeah, they are diminishing just a tad bit. We're also looking at the possibility of colder weather today. A little bit of a wind chill. Despite that, it's nothing major. Well up to the north of I-94, though. They're looking at a 20 to 30, minus 20 to 30 degree wind chill out there, but the winds have now backed off and we should be okay to finish out the morning hours. We'll get right back into the snow for Wednesday. It starts as we go in the overnight hours tonight and continues on, where we can see from Charles City, Iowa, all the way into Wisconsin Dells. That line right there will cause at least maybe about a dusting, we'll call it that, 1.5 inches, possibly for some locations all the way up to about 7 inches of snow. That being said, here's a look at the colder air up to the north. There's Rhinelander. It's really cold up there still. We're not in that. Eau Claire is not in that. And why? Because we had the cloud cover this morning that protected us, and the cloud cover is still now diminishing, moving away from Eau Claire, working towards La Crosse. Drier air is coming in from Canada. As that continues to happen, well, our temperatures are changing a wee bit now. We're seeing -6 in Eau Claire. We're also seeing plus now. That was 10 for Black River Falls. It was 10 for Sparta, and now we're down to +3, still on the warmer side down to the south because of the cloud cover. Highest wind gusts, they've been up to 15 to about, say, 20 miles per hour, and they've now diminished, as you can see, as we go right into the 6 o'clock hour and 7 o'clock hour. Those winds are light. When I come back, I'll have more about your local forecast. We'll see you in a moment.
All right, Art, thank you. Governor Tony Evers and Attorney General Josh Kaul joining a nationwide lawsuit against the Trump administration. 22 states are now fighting cuts to research funding. Money like that helps places like UW pay for labs and faculty. The states argue these cuts break federal law. Governor Evers calling the cuts devastating for Wisconsin, saying they'll hurt millions hoping for new medical treatment and cures. And the governor stopped at the Western Dairyland Head Start in Eau Claire yesterday, pushing to lower child care costs. It's part of his Year of the Kid initiative, but local Head Start programs are struggling with a federal funding freeze from the Trump administration.
The federal government starts to renege on their end of things, and they decide in Madison not to do child care accounts. That's going to make a huge impact on our economy.
Last week, 6 of the state's 39 Head Start programs said they could not access payments. And today, President Trump will welcome his first Arab leader to the White House since beginning his second term. King Abdullah of Jordan is visiting hours after the president reiterated his proposed plan to move Palestinians out of Gaza. The president also has some tough words for Hamas after the terror group said it's delaying the next release of Israeli hostages. CBS's Naomi Ruckham explains.
I've had them many times.
Today, President Donald Trump will host Jordan's King Abdullah after doubling down on his proposal to take over Gaza and permanently relocate millions of Palestinians to neighboring countries, including Jordan.
Think of it as a real estate development for the future. It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians have the right to return?
No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better housing.
The president has suggested he may cut off aid to countries that refuse to take in more Palestinians. All this comes as President Trump has also issued an ultimatum to Hamas, demanding the remaining Israeli hostages be released.
They ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday. And after that, I would say all hell is going to break out.
The threat followed the terror group's announcement that it would delay the next hostage release, accusing Israel of violating their ceasefire agreement. Israeli officials say their military is now on high alert.
Today's visit comes as the Trump administration faces mounting legal challenges over Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency and those plans to slash workers and spending. A union representing some federal workers filing a lawsuit to block Musk's agency from gaining access to files and stop the dismantling of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Yesterday, a federal judge in Boston extended the pause on the Trump administration's deferred resignation program, which promised to give full benefits to federal workers through September if they opted to step down from their roles. The nation's largest pandemic fraud trial is now underway in Minnesota. Feeding Our Future founder Amy Bach is accused of stealing $250 million meant to feed children. Prosecutors say the nonprofit only bought salad dressing, while the defense blames state education officials for the oversight. The trial could last a month. And the barricades are up this morning at public school entrances in Prairie du Chien. They've been up since Friday. Police say a threat was made against the district and they did arrest somebody. We've reached out to the district to find out when the barricades will come down, and we will let you know when they get back to us. A daughter's search for justice spanning 3 decades after her father's murder shattered her life at age 14. News 8 Now's Ken Kozarowski shows us how the system meant to protect Jamie Clark left her behind.
As a child of divorce, Jamie Clark didn't get to spend much time with her father, Robert. When she turned 14, she planned to move into her father's home in Sawyer County.
And I was ultimately going to decide to live with my dad.
A plan that changed October 13th, 1995, when a police cruiser arrived at her home.
Approached me and my friend. We were outside playing.
It's a day Jamie will never forget.
Like somebody is really ripping your spine right out of you.
Detectives found Robert Clark shot to death in his bedroom.
I just felt like my world was at an end.
The next 2 years of court proceedings were a blur. Jamie doesn't remember much as the trials played out in court, and that may have been intentional.
Some of the brothers and sisters were listed as victims. My grandparents were listed as victims, but not me.
Her voice is never heard in court.
These victim rights that I had, even as a child, as an adolescent, were thrown away.
Those rights are spelled out in Marsy's Law. The right to be heard in court, to be notified of court updates, to have direct input in parole considerations. Wisconsin didn't adopt it until 2020, but attorneys say victims had those rights before then. No one seemed interested in telling that to 14-year-old Jamie.
And all they could say was, "I'm sorry, I dropped the ball with you." Well, you weren't the only one that dropped the ball with me. The state of Wisconsin did.
The evidence still convicts David Layton and Jared Ham, who are sentenced to life in prison.
My dad was my favorite person, and I lost him forever.
That loss is torn open a dozen years later to see a documentary on her father's murder.
But Clark came back to town carrying some heavy baggage.
I feel like I'm reliving the trauma, like it's just a nightmare that I can't wake up from.
And then the nightmare returned a few months ago when a family member said Jared Ham was up for parole.
My other family members had known about this for over a year, and I was just being informed a week before he was being released. I felt re-victimized.
Jamie says she wonders how many other Wisconsin victims have had their rights ignored.
In the early hours of a prosecution, we're mostly working with law enforcement to figure out who's been affected.
But prosecutors know it's an imperfect system.
I've had cases where I didn't even know a victim had children.
It's why Jamie wants to see legislation bridge Marsy's Law with past victims.
Even if it's just being notified, it's important.
Her one chance came with a face-to-face meeting with Jared Ham.
We couldn't explain the bond that we created, but it was such a very deep, heavy conversation. I think we're both really glad it's behind us, and hopefully it's our first step to just moving on into healing.
An extreme step that came 29 years late, a timeline Jamie Clark wouldn't wish on anyone.
Because these rights are long-standing, the DA's office says it's really on attorneys and judges to do their best to leave no victim behind. For those feeling left behind, they recommend sites like VineLink. That's a free anonymous service for people to track custody status and criminal cases. Today is National 211 Day, highlighting a free service connecting people with local help 24/7. The hotline links callers to mental health support, housing, and food pantries. It's available in 180 languages and has helped more than 20 million people nationwide. If you need assistance, just dial 211. La Crosse County's newest supervisor is no stranger to local politics. Christy Tweed will represent the Onalaska-Holmen area after running for the board twice before. She'll fill Kevin Hoyer's seat through April 2026 after he moved out of the district.
I'm just excited to get to work. I've been trying to get on this board for a long time. It's important to me to give back to my community. And so I'm really just looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and get going.
At last night's meeting, the board also discussed updates on Hillview's remodel and local child care funding. The time now is 6:09, still ahead. Google Maps changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico. We'll tell you what it's updated to and how much less would you get paid to work from home. Trader Joe's announcing a daily limit on eggs.
Hotels are cultivating new green space experiences for guests. I'm Wendy Gillette in Baja California, Mexico, with how gardening has taken off as a popular amenity.
For now, America's top dogs are taking over New York City. The Westminster Dog Show is back in Manhattan with more than 2,500 four-legged competitors hoping to be the top dog. It is the nation's second oldest sporting event. Only the Kentucky Derby has been running longer. As one owner puts it, everybody loves a dog, no matter where you come from. Love seeing them getting all fluffy like that. As you start to wake up this morning, leaving you, wow, the sun is shining, leaving you with a quick wake-up call with the city that invented the incandescent light bulb and key lime pie. That, if you can't tell by the sun, that's Miami, Florida. Wish we had some sun like that. Stay with us. Your morning consumer news is coming up.
Chart your career with a fabricator position at Chart Industries. Starting wage up to $30 per hour with no experience necessary. Excellent pay and awesome benefits. Apply now at jobs.chartindustries.com.
In the hunt, every detail matters. It's not just about the thrill, but a passion for the craft. And in the end, it's about the people you get to be with. At Overhead Door, it's about our team and those we get to serve. We can repair any garage door, but we only install the best. Overhead Door Company of the Seven Rivers region since 1921.
As a veteran of our country's armed services, you have already made a most noble sacrifice. Why should you have to continue to do that? Through no fault of your own, you may be experiencing hardships, such as the inability to pay rent, utilities, or receive other life-sustaining services. And once again, you're called upon by your family to serve and protect. We want you to know we are here to support you. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program was created by and for people living in Wisconsin, with benefit approvals being issued in just days, not months. It's not easy to ask for a hand up, but we are clear in our mission. No Wisconsin veteran should ever have to face homelessness or lose heat or power again. 833-WIS-VRAP. That's 833-947-8727.
Stella Jones Corporation in Bangor has immediate openings and wants you to apply. They say this job takes grit, attention to detail, and ability to work as a team. Stella Jones Corporation is where safety matters and wages sustain a comfortable living. If you have what it takes and can stand behind our railroads, then we want you to apply today.
Ellie McClune is committed to La Crosse, striving for common sense leadership that addresses homelessness, promotes public safety, and supports affordable housing. With deep community roots and experience as a realtor and small business owner, Ellie understands the challenges and opportunities of our city. It's time for real change with a focus on community and responsible solutions. Make your vote count for a thriving La Crosse. Vote in the primary on February 18th. Paid for by Friends of Ellie McClune.
Chart your career with a fabricator position at Chart Industries. Starting wage up to $30 per hour with no experience necessary. Excellent pay and awesome benefits. Apply now at jobs.chartindustries.com.
All right, well, good morning to you once again. If you're just joining us here, we've got that colder, drier air coming out of Canada. We've got dry air across most of the northern tier of the United States, working through the Twin Cities as well, down to Minnesota, and then back to our location. We still have some colder conditions well up to the north here, north along I-94, I should say north of I-94, and with clouds diminishing as we go through the morning hours. So we're getting colder bit by bit as we finish out the morning. Minus 13 in Ladysmith, minus 6 in Eau Claire. It keeps changing every so hour or so. And then once we get down to 5 degrees for La Crosse, more of the 7 degree for Viroqua, 12 to 13 as you get into Prairie du Chien and Boscobel. As far as how it feels, similar conditions right there as you go right into the lack of winds right now now at this hour. Minus 13 in Ladysmith, minus 6 in Eau Claire. You're looking at minus 8 in La Crosse, holding on to minus 3 Viroqua, 4 to 13 degrees. That's what it feels like on your skin right now. We have, again, as we get to the nighttime tonight, going into the overnight and tomorrow, we've got snow coming into the southwestern portion here, so the northeastern portion of Iowa. That's where we're looking at maybe about 1.5 inches of snow, all the way to about 7 inches as we go in through all the way to Wisconsin Dells. That's the line right now, so that's how much possibly. La Crosse could possibly get to at least 2, maybe even 3 inches of snow possibly in the forecast. It's mostly from 1 to about 3 inches of snow, and then up to Eau Claire, you're gonna get a lot less, maybe a trace if you're lucky. Finishing out when that goes out of the way, we're dry going through Thursday. Then we go into into Friday and Saturday. Then you're seeing snow start to work its way back, where we come back for Friday going into Saturday with another round of snow in your forecast. When I come back, I'll give you a better overview of that, giving you a show of who's getting that snow and how much we're going to be picking up. So for now, I'll send it back to Alexandra.
Google says the Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America. The company says its policy is to change names when they've been updated by government officials. President Trump changing the name through an executive order last month. Google Maps is now reflecting that change. Users in Mexico, though, will still see the name the Gulf of Mexico. And how much is working from home worth to you? A new Harvard study says 40% of workers would take a 5% pay cut to stay remote. Some would give up even more. College grads and people who worked from home before COVID are most willing to trade salary for that flexibility. But older workers and those in hands-on jobs say they'd rather keep the money. Trader Joe's is the latest company to limit egg sales to 1 dozen per customer. The move comes as bird flu continues to hit farmers hard, killing 40 million egg-laying hens last year. With prices set to jump another 20%, the store wants to stop shoppers from stockpiling. The limit should help keep eggs on shelves, they say. Gardens are becoming a more important part of the hotel experience, not just to enjoy the greenery, but to eat fresh foods and take part in activities that give a taste of relaxation. Wendy Gillette has more on the gardening trend.
Softer foliage like that, more water.
The host of the Netflix show Instant Dream Home, Nick Katsumpis, led a gardening workshop at One Hotel Central Park this past fall, itself a green sanctuary in New York City.
Especially post-pandemic, when you saw so many people yearning for more greenery in their lives, I'm starting to see every hotel, no matter what their focus is, really starting to try to bring more green in some kind of way into their hotel's experience.
Katsumpis partners with One Hotels nationwide for activities like pumpkin planting, carving out the seeds, and creating seasonal decor that's also therapeutic.
For me, it's definitely my form of stress relief, and I think a lot of people see that too.
New Yorker Scott Karoka has signed up a couple times.
It's fun to do these workshops, to be a little creative, get to do things that I probably wouldn't be able to do at home.
The trend has also taken root at hotels with the space to create gardens on more land, like here at Kimpton Mausolos Resort and Spa, north of Los Cabos, Mexico. Culinary director Sandro Falbo forages from his expansive gardens throughout the 25,000 square foot property, where we stayed for a special rate. From vegetables
3 years of growing, and this year is going to be a good harvest.
To herbs and flowers.
It's like for a kid in Toys R Us, more or less. You know, it's just the best.
He calls himself the seeds keeper, choosing what's grown to create colorful dishes like salads with more than 30 fresh ingredients.
What I love, for example, it's a tomato that is being just kissed by the sun and eaten by the guests.
The chef also uses distillation to make herbal essence water, delivered to rooms every morning.
People underestimate herbs, and people should put more herbs into the food because herbs are part of the medicinal plant.
In the spa, guests can use dried flowers and herbs to create their own aromatherapy blend, another aspect of a resort where nature stars.
That looks awesome. Studies show gardening increases exercise and improves diet, mood, and mental health. That was a look at your consumer news. We'll send it over now to Art. He's got a look at our forecast.
All right, and away we go. Looking at this, though, as we carry over into your local forecast, colder conditions today to start this early morning. We've gotten lucky. We're not as cold as what's going on north of I-94 right now. Cloud cover that is still with us is still kind of protecting us with the warm blanket feel right now. We're also seeing tomorrow we get back into the snow showers working in your forecast. And are the returns diminishing? That's the major thing here. We get into Tuesday today, holding on for our highs. You're looking at maybe 5 degrees to about, say, 17 degrees for our local temperatures. We're looking at mostly sunny to mostly clear skies, as I mentioned today. We'll also see again the possibility as we go into it for today. Going into tomorrow, we'll see that cloud cover coming in as we go into the overnight hours tonight, going into tomorrow. By 7 a.m., most of that snow is by Viroqua. Then it kind of picks up as we go to La Crosse, just around the 11 o'clock hour. You see that go to Black River Falls and beyond, falls shy of Eau Claire. Then you're going to see it kind of brush Eau Claire and Chippewa Valley up there as well. Eventually, the bulk of this is going to be staying down to the south in the areas here from Boscoville to Prairie du Chien. Richland's in that as well, as you can see there, continuing on to Wisconsin Dells. That's where the line is going to be. We're talking about 1.5 inches to about 7 inches of snow in the forecast here. Everybody else is going to be a little bit on the lesser side of that. So that means La Crosse even getting hit again, as you can see, for the third time by 7 o'clock at night, and then continuing on. That kind of drifts out and over the area to the northeast and east, and we're done. We're looking at La Crosse possibly from like nothing to about maybe 2, possibly 3 inches of snow. I would say more so on the near 2 inches of snow there, maybe 2.5. You can see this kind of finish out as we go into it here, picking it up. La Crosse is showing 2 of 4, so we're looking at 0, possibly to at least 2 inches of snow for them. Eau Claire less than 1/2 inch, so we're looking at maybe a dusting of snow. Marshfield maybe about 1/2 inch or so. We're also looking at areas you get to Viroqua, going over to Volkfield as well, possibly maybe a couple of inches, maybe near 3 inches possibly. And then as you go deeper down from Prairie du Chien all the way to Boscoville as well as Madison, that's where the heavier snow is, including Wisconsin Dells. That's where you could possibly see the 2 to 4 inches of snow there, and then kind of continuing to work its way out. So I would say just bet on about maybe 1 to maybe about 3 to 5 inches of snow in your forecast. That being said, let's take a gander at what's happening here as we get into it. You're going to be looking at this. This is something I was going to show you, but I'm going to get rid of that and show you this. We go from at least isolated snow to about a round of scattered showers, and then of course finishing out with widespread showers to finish the day, which I just showed you. As you go into your tracker here for the next few days or a couple of days, we're looking at slick spots on the roadways because of the snow, snowy roadways as well, and then the winds will begin to tick up a little bit higher as we finish out. Wednesday's highs, you're looking at maybe about 11 to about, say, 17 degrees. And once you get into the next few days, we're going to look at colder conditions to finish out all the way into Friday morning, and then we're done. You've got colder air with sunshine coming in for Thursday, more snow for Friday and Saturday. Continuing on. Back to you.
Thank you, Art. Still ahead, new guidelines on who should be tested for the most common bone disease in the U.S. We'll give you those details just ahead.
Coming up in the Blitz, area hoops teams looking to strengthen their resume in non-conference play, plus a ton of ladies in action on the mat in Holman. Highlights coming your way soon.
Brad Schimmel let thousands of rape kits sit untested for years.
While rapists walked free and victims waited for justice.
Take it from a sheriff.
A sheriff.
A cop. Brad Schimmel's too extreme for the Supreme Court.
Increase your home's energy efficiency and enjoy year-round comfort with Asher Lasting Exteriors. Take advantage of our biggest savings ever and receive up to 25% off your entire project. Connect with our team today and request a free, no-obligation consultation at goasher.com.
At Taco John's, we believe a better Taco Tuesday starts with better tacos. That means using 100% North American beef, cooking shelves in-house daily, and a deal that makes you say, how are these only $1.29? Taco Tuesday is every Tuesday at Taco John's.
Dental implants are often the best solution to severe dental issues. If you have infection in your mouth, it does cause trouble other places. A lot of people ignore infection for way too long. And when they finally do something about it, they say not only do they like what they did here, but they feel better overall. In the end, you can have a smile you're proud of and a very healthy mouth.
We're an implant-focused practice. If you think you have a full mouth of challenges, come see us. Come down for a free consultation.
Increase your home's energy efficiency and enjoy year-round comfort with Asher Lasting Exteriors. Take advantage of our biggest savings ever and receive up to 25% off your entire project. Connect with our team today and request a free, no-obligation consultation at goasher.com.
Over 2 years, Brad Schimmel tested only 9 rape kits out of 6,000 that needed testing, while rapists walked free and victims waited for justice. Brad Schimmel is just too extreme.
Welcome to the Blitz. Well, we are less than 2 weeks from postseason brackets being released for WIAA boys basketball. A couple teams with hopes of a high seed facing off at the Reinhardt Athletic Complex last night. Fun one between Luther and Aquinas. First up, it's Sinclair Bias with a tough take to the hole, absorbing the contact, finishing for the old-fashioned three-point play. He had 25. Braden Young with the next time down the court, bumping a bucket of his own. Hosts go up by 2. Then off the steal, Jackson Kendall with the up and under finish, putting a little English on it. Then a little later, ball swung around for the Blue Goals. Logan Becker is going to cash in from the corner. This one would come down to the wire, but Aquinas squeaks out a 57-53 win over Luther. Non-conference matchup between Cashton and DeSoto ladies. First up, the Eagles' Kate Wall connecting from inside the arc on the left wing. Then a little later, it's Taylor Lindley Schendel with too much space, and she is money from downtown. Pirates were off to a slow start, but then Kaylee Vanner gets things going. Bucket right there, and she wouldn't stop. Vanner gets ahead of steam, laying it in with a left for 2. Then coming up here through defenders, gonna do a little hook shot, and that falls as well. She's averaging over 20 points a game. Heck of a player, but this one coming down to the wire as well. But the visitors, Cashton, would go on for the win, 46-45. All right, a bunch of good wrestling at the Holman Girls Scramble. A lot to get to, so we'll start with Prairie du Chine's Rosalie Kosman. Gonna get the takedown, run the half Nelson, and she would pick up the fall for PDC. Next up, we've got West Salem Bangor's Ely Schneeb-Duffy up big. She finishes it off with a pin and gets the win. How about Westby's Marissa Klum? Big time double leg right to the back as she would go on to get the pin in this one. And we've got Holman's Peyton Crodeville coming up next against Toma's Mackenzie Perry. Crodeville in control as she collects the fall for the Vikings. And then up next, Onalaska's Megan Ramsey. She was up big in this one. She locks the cradle, collects the back points, and she would win by tech fall. And more here from Sparta's Michaela Dixon, winning by pin. And then we'll end with Black River Falls' Riley Hanrahan, second at state last year as a freshman. She was putting on a show last night. 6 total takedowns for her as she would win 21-6, looking ready for regionals, which begin on Friday. Lots of good action in Holman last night. Best of luck to those ladies as the postseason rolls around. Now, for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Saturday through Monday only. Buy this gorgeous sectional and you'll get the Ottoman free. The President's Weekend Doorbuster deals at Slumberland Furniture. Up to 60% off list. Get a free recliner with this reclining sofa. Only at Slumberland Furniture.
Dear Winter, our squad of vehicles with all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive is ready. Bundle up, Toyota.
Right now, lease a new 2024 Tacoma for $319 a month. Toyota. Let's go places.
This street's like any other in Wisconsin, but the new neighbor is a pedophile who repeatedly raped a little girl, released after just 2 years in prison. Thanks to Judge Susan Crawford's sweetheart sentence, a fraction of the 60 years he faced. Now, the pedophile lives blocks from a school. And with Susan Crawford on the bench, your street could be next.
Attention,
If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 715-469-6907. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 715-469-6907. Again, that's 715-469-6907.
After more than 30 years in banking, I have seen a lot of changes in the housing market and in home lending. The one thing that has not changed is my dedication to get to know you and your individual mortgage needs. There are many home loan programs out there today. We can sit down or talk over the phone to figure out what home loan program is best for you. Come see me and let's talk.
Everybody's welcome at Firefighters Credit Union.
Dear Winter, our squad of vehicles with all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive is ready. Bundle up, Toyota.
Right now, get 1.99% APR for 72 months on a tough new Tundra. Toyota. Let's go places.
Saturday through Monday only. Buy this gorgeous sectional and you'll get the Ottoman free. The President's Weekend Doorbuster deals at Slumberland Furniture. Up to 60% off list. Get a free recliner with this reclining sofa. Only at Slumberland Furniture.
News 8 Now Sports. Expect more from News 8 Now. Thanks for watching.
It is the most common bone disease in the U.S. Osteoporosis is a weakening of a bone structure, tissue, and strength, and can lead to an increased risk of fractures. It is a treatable condition, but only if it's detected through screening. There are some new guidelines on who should be tested. Mandy Gaither goes over the recommendations and explains why they've changed.
It's called a silent disease because there are no symptoms of early-stage osteoporosis. It's usually found after a fracture or during screening.
It's just a matter of age and time and a non-use of your bones that it slowly develops.
Dr. Paul Lewis with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says osteoporosis screening isn't invasive but critical as it can detect the condition before bones are broken. New guidelines recommend all women over age 65 have a bone mineral density test. Women of any age at increased risk for the disease are also advised to be screened.
It's almost as simple as getting x-rays taken. You lay on the table, they focus on the hip or the spine or your wrist, and a score is computed from that.
That score helps determine bone density. If it's low, Lewis says there are several medications that can stop bone loss or help build bone back. Consistently doing weight-bearing exercises or aerobics can also help prevent the disease. He says the new recommendations are due to an increase in injuries and even deaths linked to these types of fractures in the last 7 years.
The jury's still out on men getting screened, but typically men with risk factors of osteoporosis should be screened as well. That decision, though, comes between the patient and their physician.
Doctors say early detection of osteoporosis is also important so that a patient knows to get help quickly if there is a fracture. He says the sooner that a broken bone is treated, the better the outcome. But he says many times people wait to be treated and only half gain back their pre-fracture activity levels. And a Wisconsin company recalling alfalfa sprouts this morning over listeria concerns. River Falls Jack and the Green Sprout sold these 5-ounce packages across 3 states, including here in Wisconsin. If you bought them, With a January 29th expiration date, throw them out. The sprouts were sold at local grocery stores and co-ops in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. The FDA wants to ban a cancer-causing chemical from hair straighteners. Formaldehyde, commonly found in products marketed to Black women, could stay on shelves longer. The Trump administration's new regulatory freeze puts the ban on hold and might allow the chemical to remain with limits. Scientists say Earth's innermost layer is changing. Direct observation of the core is impossible, but scientists can analyze changes in the size and shape of seismic waves as they pass through the core. In this study, deformation appeared in waves from earthquakes. It's hard to pin down what those changes look like, but the study's authors say that it's most likely the outer core pushing on the inner core and moving it around. Arcadia schools will save $40,000 a year, they say, thanks to new energy upgrades. The district just finished installing high-efficiency boilers and a smarter ventilation system. Focus on Energy, which has worked with Arcadia since 2005, helped fund the project.
They're roughly the same size, just a little bit bigger than our previous boilers. Like I said, the efficiency on them is light years ahead of what we were doing before, and the reliability and just the cost effectiveness has been a great fit for us.
School says it'll now look at upgrades for the steam boiler system at the elementary school. AI is hitting Whitehall classrooms, a move school officials hope will give students an edge when it comes to learning. News 8 Now's Grace Monk takes a look at how it works.
The Whitehall School District is providing students with a personalized learning experience, and that's all thanks to AI technology. Last fall, middle school students started using an AI program in math and science classes to address learning gaps.
Classrooms for a long time, there were perhaps 1 or 2 different grade level equivalents of kids in those classrooms. That number is now 9.
According to Superintendent Mike Bigley, it was time for a change.
Schools have operated for a long time on minimal compliance. So what's the minimum I can do to get an A? What's the minimum I can do to get a B?
At the beginning of the year, students take an assessment, and the program then creates lessons based on their score. 8th grade teacher Shannon Bigley was the first to use the program.
It was scary at first. It was, taking that chance, being a teacher for the better part of, 25 plus years. I've learned one way to teach.
Bigley says she slowly adapted to the new way of teaching, and so did students.
We've seen a lot of positives. Students are definitely more engaged. We talk about being productive and being engaged every day.
Principal Damon Lasowski says the program is changing the way students behave and learn.
Students are, again, in control of their learning. They take responsibility for that. So many of the students, when they're on task and focused on what they're doing, they have less time to be disruptive to others in the classroom.
It has also allowed teachers to focus more on meeting the needs of each student.
We can look at individual strengths, individual challenges, identify them, because we're not asking our teachers to spend all of their time delivering lessons. So I think the role of the teacher is greater than it ever has been.
Grace Monk, News 8 Now This Morning.
This semester, the district began introducing the program to elementary and high school students. Now we'll send it over to meteorologist Art Jarrett. He's got a look at our Tuesday morning commute forecast.
All right, believe it or not, it's not that bad out there. -14 in Ladysmith, -6 in Eau Claire. Once you get to La Crosse, you're looking at least 5 degrees. And down to the south, you're looking at some teens in there, 12 to 13 degrees. I say it's not that bad because it's only -13 as you get into Ladysmith, similar to the local temperature, as well as -6 in Eau Claire. That's around the temperature right now. -8 in La Crosse right now because we had a little bit of wind, and as you get down to the south, not much change going on with the exception of Viroqua as well, -3. 0 degrees in Black River Falls and about 3 degrees over in Sparta. We've got the snow coming in later on today. You'll see that, or I should say tonight, going into the overnight hours, then it continues on. That goes all the way to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, going to the evening commute, and then continues on till about, say, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and it's done with most of the snow exiting out of the area, and we're out of it. We're looking at the snow potential all the way from, you get into Charles City, Iowa, extending all the way out to Wisconsin Dells here. That's where the big line is, where you're seeing maybe at least 1 to about, say, 3 inches of snow, possibly maybe up to 5 for some isolated areas. We'll also see that, and I mean possibly over by Madison. You can see that as well. Everybody else a lot less than a half an inch or so, maybe a dusting for Eau Claire, for La Crosse, possibly some from 0 to about, say, 2 to 3 inches of snow, possibly, and then that's it. We'll get into your drive time right now for Nominee. It looks pretty good. They've plowed the roadways now, so it looks better for everybody. Peabody, -4, feels like -5 out there. You get into Toma, the roadways are looking pretty good as well. Heading out to Shelby as well, going the opposite direction. Feels like it's -1 degree with a 3-degree temperature currently. This is what we're worrying about for today and tomorrow, where we're seeing slick spots, snowy roadways, and the wind's not really an issue as we go through the next couple of days. Back to you.
Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
All right, Carol is turning 88 years old today. She's spending time with her family and friends, and her husband, Roger.
Happy birthday to you, Carol. And if you know a special someone turning 8 weeks, 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88, we'd love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
Still to come, mayoral candidate Chris K. Lowe stops by in studio to discuss her vision after 6 years on the city council.
PB&J?
PB before we go.
P before we go.
P before we go.
See you tomorrow?
Yeah.
At Doll Auto, we've had customers ask, why are your prices so low? The simple answer is, we price our pre-owned vehicles to sell. When you're shopping around, we want you asking, why are their prices so high? Doll Auto.
Ellie McClune is committed to lacrosse, striving for common sense leadership that addresses homelessness, promotes public safety, and supports affordable housing. With deep community roots and experience as a realtor and small business owner, Ellie understands the challenges and opportunities of our city. It's time for real change with a focus on community and responsible solutions. Make your vote count for a thriving lacrosse. Vote in the primary on February 18th. Paid for by Friends of Ellie McClune.
Increase your home's energy efficiency and enjoy year-round comfort with Asher Lasting Exteriors. Our windows and doors combine quality craftsmanship and cutting-edge innovation from the trusted brand Renewal by Andersen, and our team provides expert installations backed by industry-leading transferable warranties. Take advantage of our biggest savings ever and receive up to 25% off your entire project. Connect with our team today and request a free, no-obligation consultation at goasher.com.
News 8 Now and Dairyland Power Cooperative present the Community Calendar.
UWL's music department presents its annual honors recital on Sunday, February 16th at 2 p.m. with a reception to follow. Help celebrate and recognize these students for their achievements in music. Bring your favorite crafting project to work on while watching Frozen at the Riv. Enjoy the classic Rivoli concessions and themed drinks, as well as special Olaf painting kits sold by All Glazed Up.
For more information on these events, or if you'd like to submit an event, visit news8000.com.
This street's like any other in Wisconsin, but the new neighbor is a pedophile who repeatedly raped a little girl, released after just 2 years in prison. Thanks to Judge Susan Crawford's sweetheart sentence, a fraction of the 60 years he faced. Now, the pedophile lives blocks from a school. And with Susan Crawford on the bench, your street could be next.
How much time do you spend comparing prices on pre-owned vehicles? At Doll Auto, we're comparing prices every day, all week, all year. Because we want our price to be the best price by far. Doll Auto.
All right, welcome back. As we get into your local forecast here, this is what I've got going on for you. This is the storm that we're all been watching about. You've got folks across many states here, from Texas all the way out to areas going to D.C., going to New York as well, and eventually kind of lifting up, going to the northeast. That's what's going to affect a lot of people over the next few days. That being said, let's take a look here, getting a little closer to home, though. We've got snow conditions working its way closer to us as we go into it right now. You're seeing that little brushing that kind of moves across the area. That finished out about 5 o'clock this morning, going to our south. south and out of the area towards Chicago. We've got drier air coming out of Canada. That colder air continues to work through our system here, or at least our region here locally. But the thing is, though, it's much colder well north of I-94 right now. We've got the cloud cover that's still kind of diminishing slowly but surely. We'll get the sunnier skies today with temperatures ranging from 5 to about 17 degrees. So that's what's happening today. The weather will be quiet. Once we get into tonight, though, a different story. We'll carry over into the overnight from Wednesday morning going into, say, 7 o'clock. Most of it is between, say, Charles City, Iowa, all the way into portions of, say, Boscobel, pardon me, with Viroqua in the crosshairs there, getting to La Crosse by the time we get in the 11 o'clock hour, Winona all the way up to Black River Falls. Not so much for Eau Claire, maybe a dusting possibly that continues on. You see some of the cloud cover working its way toward them, but still, it's mostly down to the south towards Wisconsin Dells, working to Vogue Field, and then up and out it goes. Another round comes in by 7 p.m. going through your evening commute from the south, working all the way up to La Crosse, going to Black River Falls. Sparta, you're in that mix as well, and then continue to stretch all the way to Black River Falls up to Marshfield and Wausau, where the heaviest amounts start to work their way into the forecast, as well as down by Wisconsin Dells and Madison. Those guys will get the most out of it to finish out the day. That being said, that's done. We'll go into how this all plays out. We've got a little bit of that snow that's working out of the area right now, as I mentioned, but we're looking at maybe 1.5 inches to maybe about 5 to about 7 inches of snow in the forecast, and that 7 inches of snow are going to be hard pressed to reach. That being said, we take a look here at what's going on there. As we finish that out, we'll go into this again with the wind chill. We've got slick spots. We've got the winds. The wind chill is backed off, but we have light winds coming in later on Thursday. That'll be fine. Highs for Wednesday, what you're looking at now is at least 11 to about, say, 16 degrees. We'll continue with the snow in the forecast. There we go for Friday going into Saturday. Snow returns in our forecast again. We're looking at limited amounts here once more. We're seeing maybe up to about 1/2 inch or much less, where we're going to see maybe about 4/10 of an inch and then less than that. As you go through the next few days, you can see we've got scattered showers coming in for tomorrow. Then we take a break for Thursday. We have more scattered showers coming in for Friday going into Saturday. Then they diminish and we go dry again. The chance of picking up that snow over the next few inches, possibly getting the forecast, is about a 10% chance. So it's limited. Going to the next few hours, we're looking at, again, 12 degrees for our high today, then carrying over to much colder conditions going into the end of this week. And then again, by Friday going to Saturday, we may see temperatures reach up to middle 20s and then back to the cold.
All right, Art, thank you. Our mayoral candidate conversations continue this morning with City Council President Chris Calo. She served on the council for 6 years and has been at the center of many key city decisions. Good morning, Chris. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. So you've worked on population growth challenges during your council tenure. What policies do you think can help reverse this kind of population trend decline we're seeing here?
Well, thanks for that question. The next mayor has to overcome these challenges with a effective, focused approach. We need to maintain and attract new residents and families in the city, and I plan to do that with focusing on 3 key priorities. The first one is supporting our local businesses. We know they are the key to our city's success, so we really need to support them. Second, housing and safe neighborhoods. We all need safe neighborhoods, and housing our needs. We need to make sure we have a mix of types of housing, townhouses, missing middle, as well as single family and affordable homes. And the third is focusing on the quality of life for our citizens. We know that we need to attract these new residents and keep them by keeping our city vibrant and welcoming.
Okay, so you've mentioned that just now. Are there any other I should say notes that you have that will let us know about the new residents possibly coming back to the area here, as well as affordable housing?
Notes about the new residents?
Yeah, what do you have to say about that?
I think they would be attracted to us because the values that I have and the council has are the same values the citizens have, which are making sure we have strong neighborhoods. And with that, making sure that we're funding things in those neighborhoods to attract the residents, like supporting our parks, our pools, our libraries, and making sure that we are funding our arts and celebrating the arts and culture in the community, and that will attract new residents.
And housing affordability is something that La Crosse has been dealing with. You have been working, on that as a member of City Council. What's your plan to help address some of these housing affordability issues that we're seeing?
Well, the council has been doing a really great job. The past administration and the council, we have passed accessory dwelling unit ordinance that's allowed. We're removing barriers to new housing, and we have over 2,000 new housing units that will come online in the next 5 years, already in the works. So we see an end to this, but what we need really is, we see that supply increasing, and that will, I think, keep housing prices a little more affordable. We need to be sure that when we're adding new housing, that mix in neighborhoods is really being sensitive to the design and character, so that we still keep the character of our older neighborhoods with the new housing.
All right.
So where do you stand on local enforcement helping out with immigration issues?
Quite a question.
A topic of debate for sure recently,
right.
yeah.
Our police department right now, we are down officers only because it's a challenge to get those positions filled. It is fully funded, but it is stretching our police department, and I don't see that we have the resources to be doing work outside the work we already put on our men and women in public safety. So while I realize we may be forced, I'm not sure that we have the resources for that.
So you're saying you are for that, or for our local enforcement to help out?
I would not be in favor of our local enforcement, but we may be bound by federal laws, and that I would have to talk to the chief about.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about improving city services, another part of your platform here. How would you balance, maintaining those quality services? Also, we still need cost affordable for young families, right? So how do you kind of strike a balance there?
Well, again, I think I have the same values our citizens have, and I think we have really amazing services in the city right now. When we do the budget, we need to be mindful and thoughtful about what we are funding, and it is important to fund the critical repairs that we need to keep the city moving forward, but also making sure that maybe some things we might have to hold off until next year, focusing on critical repairs. I think that's an important part of the budget.
All right. Okay, Chris, well, thank you so much for being here this morning and sharing your platform with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thank you again.
No problem. Stay with us. We're back right after this. And don't forget that we will have the candidates, as we mentioned, all week. Tomorrow, tune in around 6:40. We'll have Shondell Washington Spivey. If you'd like to watch Chris's interview again or catch up with Vicki Markison from yesterday, you can find those interviews at news8000.com. Stay with us. We're back right after this.
During the President's Day sale at PM Sleep Center, you'll save up to $400 on select Sealy adjustable mattress sets. Hurry in early for the best selection. Your next mattress is at PM Sleep Center, giving La Crosse a good night's sleep for over 35 years.
The Silverado Trail Boss. And a little work. And a little play. And a truck that says no to nothing. And Chevrolet.
Get $3,000 total cash allowance on this 2025 Silverado. Plus, current Chevy owners can get $5,000 total value when you trade in an eligible vehicle. Visit HometownChevy.com.
T-Mobile is very reliable.
It's always nice to know that T-Mobile has us covered.
I love the fact that my family and I, we can stay connected just about anywhere we want to go.
My network is my lifeline.
T-Mobile keeps you connected on America's largest and fastest 5G network. And right now, get 4 free smartphones and 4 lines for $25 per line when you switch. It's better over here.
Around here, neighbors come together to make each other better. We're taking the same approach with healthcare. Gunderson Health System and Bellin Health have come together to form Amplify Health, giving you more of what's important in healthcare. More caring, more listening, more to feel good about on your way to feeling better. Overall, just a little more heart. Amplify Health by Gunderson. A little empathy changes everything.
Susan Crawford. She's the prosecutor who locked up violent criminals, the judge who's kept them off the street, and the leader who fought for abortion rights. On the Supreme Court, she'll look at the facts and uphold the law. Fair, impartial, common sense. That's Judge Susan Crawford.
For me, being a judge is really pretty simple. There's right and there's wrong, and I'll always do the right thing for Wisconsin.
During the President's Day sale at PM Sleep Center, you'll save up to $800 on select Stearns & Foster adjustable mattress sets. Hurry in early for the best selection. Your next mattress is at PM Sleep Center, giving La Crosse a good night's sleep for over 35 years.
What is a hero? not the kind from comic books and movies saving the day. We're talking about everyday heroes, those with a special kind of courage or ability, those saving the day, one person at a time. News 8 Now wants to find those heroes and thank them for bettering our community. Go to news8000.com, click on Features, then Hometown Heroes to nominate someone you feel is truly a hometown hero.
Welcome back. It's 6:53, time for your morning news now. The barricades are up at public school entrances in Prairie du Chien. They went up Friday. Police say a threat was made against the district. Someone was arrested. We reached out to the district to find out when the barricades will come down, and we're waiting for a response. President Trump signed proclamations imposing 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports. The president says that will help American companies and apply to all imports without exceptions. He says more tariffs will be announced soon, including on cars. Governor Tony Evers and Attorney General Kahl are joining a nationwide lawsuit against the Trump administration. 22 states are now fighting cuts to research funding, money that helps places like UW-Madison pay for labs and faculty. The states argue these cuts break federal law. Governor Evers calling the cuts devastating for Wisconsin, saying they'll hurt millions hoping for new medical treatments and cures. And the governor stopped at the Western Dairyland Head Start in Eau Claire, pushing to lower child care costs. It's part of his Year of the Kid initiative. But local Head Start programs are struggling with a federal funding freeze from the Trump administration.
The federal government starts to renege on their end of things, and they decide in Madison not to do child care accounts. That's going to make a huge impact on our economy.
Last week, 6 of the 39 Head Start programs in the state said they could not access payments. Today is National 211 Day, highlighting a free service connecting local people with help. The hotline links callers to mental health support, housing help, and food pantries. It's available in 180 languages and has helped more than 20 million people nationwide. If you need assistance, dial 211. La Crosse County's newest supervisor is no stranger to local politics. Christy Tweed will represent the Onalaska-Holmen area after running for the board twice before. She'll fill Kevin Hoyer's seat through April 2026 after he moved out of the district.
I'm just excited to get to work. I've been trying to get on this board for a long time. It's important to me to give back to my community. And so I'm really just looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and get going.
At last night's meeting, the board also discussed updates on Hillview's remodel and local child care funding.
All right, you see Ladysmith holding on to at least minus 17 degrees right now. They're just shy about 3 degrees from reaching minus 20 degrees, which puts them in criteria for a special cold weather special statement. We'll also be seeing local temperatures around 5 degrees for La Crosse. It's still a little bit chilly going into Eau Claire as well. We'll also get into today, 12 degrees for our high today under cold conditions. Cold tomorrow as well with an 80% chance of snow in the forecast, maybe up to about 5, maybe 6 inches of snow possible in our forecast. And then we dry it out Thursday with more snow for Friday and Saturday.
The enigma of my absent eyebrows. In the gentle whispers of time, it is said that my visage was once adorned with both eyebrows and eyelashes.
The Mona Lisa is taking questions and answering, it seems. A new AI app turning museum visits into conversations lets visitors chat with famous artwork. If you want to know why Mona Lisa has no eyebrows, like you heard her there talking about, you can just scan and ask. The technology is inspired by Harry Potter's talking portraits. It's now bringing historical figures to life in Paris museums.
Sit and observe and enjoy.
AI has to infiltrate everything, doesn't it?
Wow.
Well, thank you for starting your morning with us on News 8 Now this morning. We'll see you back here at noon. Until then, enjoy your Tuesday.